Before we dig in, some quick housekeeping. One of our foundational sources for this piece was the incredible Line Goes Up video by Folding Ideas. It's on YouTube, and if you're listening with the hopes of a thorough understanding of crypto, we urge you to just watch that. Line Goes Up, Folding Ideas, it's on YouTube. Now, what is cryptocurrency? I'm sure everyone who's listening has had some part of cryptocurrency explained to them by some half-drunk finance bro in a Patagonia vest at some social event, and I'm sure the explanation ended with, but yeah, bro, this shit is the future. You gotta invest. However, for the purpose of this podcast, all we really need to know is what crypto is, what its original purpose was, and how it pretty much sucks ass at like anything it tries to be good at. So, what is crypto? It's a digital currency where the record keeping is decentralized. So, as opposed to trusting a bank to verify or keep a ledger of transactions, crypto relies on an open ledger that is verified and maintained via other participants and cryptography. From a value standpoint, a coin is worth however much someone is willing to pay. Like anything else, if there are a lot of buyers and not a whole lot of sellers or coins, the price goes up. If the opposite is true, tons of coins, tons of sellers, not a lot of buyers, the prices go down, often pretty fucking quickly. Many coins have a mechanism to regulate how many coins are in the market at any given time, which has a great effect on price and makes crypto extremely vulnerable to pump and dump schemes. So, why crypto? Well, have any of you seen National Treasure, where Nick Cage solves a bunch of centuries-old riddles and has a crazy distrust of the government and other types of authority? That pretty much describes everyone in the cryptography space. They're obsessed with anonymity and don't trust centralized entities, governments, banks, and other theys. Read into that how you might. Also, these cryptographers were concerned about things like hyperinflation and wanted to invent a currency that wouldn't be so easily manipulated by governments printing money. This became extremely attractive after the financial system turned into a giant fucking bomb in 2008. So, conceptually, this sounds cool. So why are Rad Bill and Money Mike so aggy about this shit? Well, firstly, it's slow and extremely expensive to transact. In dollar terms, single transfers could cost $20 to $30 per transaction. That's like a whole nother hit of acid. And you're waiting days for this money to get to your acid dealer. Number two, there's really no recourse for mistakes or fraudulent transactions. This is the only money system that has ever even been proposed without any sort of recourse on this front. So, we're pissed off about crypto. What does this have to do with our story? Well, Sam sought to solve the first problem of crypto. It's slow and transactions are expensive. It became clear that this decentralized marketplace that democratically relied on participants and transparency in an effort to take a middleman out of the process needed one thing: a middleman. The existence of cryptocurrency exchanges literally proves that the cutting-edge concept behind crypto doesn't work. But alas, even though crypto's bullshit and quickly devolved from a clever idea into a little online casino, Sam knew that it was a casino and that the house always wins. So he decided to try to become the house. Let's go ahead and toss SBF into the PR torture test machine, which relies on the acronym CRUTCHES. C is for consumer harm, R is for rich parents, U is for union suppression, T is for tax avoidance, C is for child labor allegations, H is for harassment allegations, E is for egregious behavior after hours, S is for slap suits, and journalist suppression.
I'm Money Mike.
And I'm Rad Bill. And... you're doing it. Love this shit.
So, here's the question that we're really trying to answer here. Is everybody in this story just really fucking stupid?
Yeah, man, I can't fucking figure it out. We're going to be like running through the CVs of the people involved. And it's like, oh, well, you know, starting $1 billion company was my fallback from like molecular nanophysics, and then segueing to just harebrained bullshit.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So let's go ahead and get started. Rad Bill, do you want to kick us off?
In 1992, Sam Bankman Fried is born on the campus of Stanford University. His parents were both professors at Stanford Law School, and his family had plenty of money. His high school years were full of math camp.
Yeah, he has a real math camp haircut.
Yeah, man, what is up with that? It's like he took some sort of experimental pill and just like couldn't stop growing hair. He and I have the same curl pattern. Sam, just use a leave-in and you can turn that chia pet hair into sex bomb hair. It'll work great.
And let me just vouch for Rad Bill here. He has some sex bomb hair.
Oh.
It is some delicious hair.
I feel like you're trying to seduce me.
Is it working?
Oh. Making me blush over here. So, he graduates MIT with a degree in physics and a minor in mathematics. We're keeping the child section pretty light here. There's a ton of math camp. It's math camp punctuated by the points that we just touched on.
Yeah,
Hair, MIT, and Stanford University, where he was born.
He's like a final math boss at this point.
Yeah.
And this makes sense because he does what every physics major out of MIT does, and he goes to intern at a proprietary trading firm, which is Jane Street Capital. Mm-hmm. And he would be trading international ETFs. And he would get a job there eventually. But what's important here is that he would meet Caroline Ellison, and they would bond over effective altruism.
We'll get into effective altruism here a little later on.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So then, in September 2017, he would start working at the Center for Effective Altruism as a director of development. And he would do this for a month or two. Mm-hmm. And we suspect that he left the Center for Effective Altruism to start Alameda Research.
Hooray! So this might get annoying. We're going for like a Guy Ritchie thing here, and we're going to be splitting our time between Alameda and FTX. We'll bounce back and forth throughout this episode, but it'll all make sense in the end.
Yes. So Sam founds Alameda Research, which is a quantitative trading firm, and he partners with a lady named Tara McCauley, who also worked at the Center for Effective Altruism. And Sam would actually own 90% of this company as of 2021.
So it was mostly his. Yeah.
Yeah. So Alameda is where Sam Bankman Fried starts going all in with crypto. So in 2017, Alameda was making a name for themselves by applying quant-driven stock strategies to cryptocurrency. And because cryptocurrency markets were more fractured, Alameda was bringing it in. They were really profiting from this lack of efficiency in this budding market. But this kind of begs the question, why crypto? So in a CNBC interview that was actually recorded in 2021, Sam reminisced on his introduction to the crypto market. And this is kind of what he says. He got into crypto without really knowing what it was because there was good trading there. But he didn't really think about crypto's long-term role until he tried making a wire transfer with crypto. And this was his first interaction with transferring funds. And Sam says, anyone who's dealt with an international wire transfer in the past has regretted it.
What does that mean?
So, dude, I've worked in banking, and sending international wire transfers, it just isn't that hard.
Yeah. You went to MIT, man.
Maybe like he's a young guy, so he's like, oh, I have to go into a branch and make an appointment. Oh, God.
Do you know what the fee was to wire that money?
Probably less than it would be to transfer it in crypto, if we're being honest.
It was probably much safer to transfer it in regular dollars as well. What if the reason that everyone who wired money regretted it is because it wasn't exciting enough. They're like, yeah, I wired over $100, but I mean, where's the joy in that? Like, I wasn't worried at all that the money wouldn't make it over to my brother in Europe.
I just needed some fucking serotonin from this thing.
Yeah, man.
And then the host says, I was listening, and that's exactly what I was thinking. There are people who say that the utilitarian uses of Bitcoin haven't been implemented, and I think that you differ with that because it's so easy to send across borders. And then the interviewer just goes on for a solid 30 seconds, just gawk 9000, this guy's little dick.
I was listening, and that's exactly what I was thinking. What you said was just the way you said it. And, a lot of people are like, what do you do with Bitcoin? And I think that you are like, here's some things we can do with Bitcoin, which I think is pretty great.
Well, it just goes to show that even the people that are talking about this on TV really don't fucking know what it is.
Yeah, and also I feel like that CNBC host was really banking on the idea that we couldn't rewind that footage. When we were researching this, I played it 20 times with Money Mike over the phone.
Dude, he's not exaggerating. It was probably 20 times. But anyway, fast forward to 2018, SBF moves to Hong Kong and begins implementing the crypto strategy that would make him a billionaire, and that is arbitrage trading. Now, there are a few different specific strategies that he used, but in essence, all arbitrage boils down to is buying something in one place for a low price and selling it somewhere else for a higher price. It's the most base form of investing that you can think of. Buy low, sell high. However, while it seems fairly simple, this strategy would pay off major dividends. Also, at this point, Caroline Ellison comes to work at Alameda. A quick lightning round on Caroline Ellison.
She was the youngest of 3 girls born to 2 MIT economics professors. When she was 8, she conducted a study on stuffed animal prices for Toys R Us for Daddy's B-Day. She received top honors in American mathematics competition. She was the captain of the high school math league. She received a National Merit Scholarship from MIT's after-school math program, which we didn't know existed, and she graduated from Stanford in 2016 with a math degree.
So, we're going back to our original question, is everybody in the story stupid? And right now, you want to say no!
Right?
This is like someone who was, genetically bred to be intelligent.
This is like when Harry met Sally, except all 4 of their collective parents were professors at Ivy League schools.
Exactly. The fucking mean IQ of those 2 people.
It had to be nuts. They fucking have to be smart.
So, then, in April of 2019, FTX is founded with Gary Wang, who is an ex-Google employee, and Nishad Singh, one of the best traders at Alameda. And for the time being, this was okay for Alameda. In a stroke of good luck, crypto would start exploding, and the Alameda team would end up buying altcoins,
which are all the coins except for Bitcoin,
and essentially fall asleep at the wheel. Our wonderful listener in the Philippines should write this down. It is very important.
Back to FTX.
Pew! FTX's first seed round raises $8 million and includes early investors like Pantera Capital, Sequoia Capital, and a huge would-be competitor, Binance, and its venture arm, Binance Lab, and many others.
They rake it the fuck in. Actually, Sequoia Capital caught SBF playing League of Legends during their Series B funding meeting, and were like, this guy's a fucking genius. This guy's so smart. You know, he came in here without a tie or a belt on.
Dude, I saw a picture of SBF with some politician, and I'm just like, this guy smells like cat piss.
Like, why is that politician meeting with that guy who's maybe selling weed? We don't know what he does.
So, okay, FTX makes all this money in their investment round, but what does FTX do? FTX is 2 things. It's a bank, mainly, but perhaps more importantly, FTX is in the business of creating a proprietary cryptocurrency that can only be used on their platform, called FTT. So FTX is how you trade currency, and FTT is the currency that you use to make those trades. So
it's Chuck E. Cheese to Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
That's it. What FTX essentially did to incentivize its users to use FTT instead of other currencies when they were transacting is give them a discount. So if you're playing Mario Kart with your Chuck E. Cheese tokens, it would cost you $1. But if you use quarters, the price would go up to $1.25, which essentially incentivizes people to buy more Chuck E. Cheese tokens so they can trade, and this drives the price of their currency, the tokens, way up, which is a huge part of SBF's market cap. Now, according to Sam Bankman Fried, what matters most to FTX is trades on the FTX platform. But what we will begin to see here is that Sam spends a considerable amount of time and money maintaining the crypto ecosystem around him. Take, for example, SushiSwap.
Oh, SushiSwap. So, SushiSwap is founded by two anonymous devs, which ordinarily would be a red flag, but maybe this time it's different. Chef Nomi and OX Maki are our two devs.
God damn. I'm sorry, like, we're having to seriously report on people named Chef Nomi and OX Maki. Like, these are gamer tags. These are not names.
Right?
Yeah, and these two devs essentially made SushiSwap an exact copy of another crypto platform called Uniswap that had the same Chuck E. Cheese token system as FTX. And the devs' plan was literally to pay users to switch from Uniswap, and they would be paying them in their little token, Sushi. So just like FTX, users would use Sushi to transact on the platform. So the more users that SushiSwap got, the more people bought tokens, and the more those tokens were worth. Does this sound like a pump to you? Because it is. As SushiSwap was moving users from Uniswap and Sushi's value was exploding, Chef Noki, one of those dastardly devs, dumped his share of Sushi, the coin, not the food, and ran. SushiSwap immediately collapsed.
So, SushiSwap is in shambles. Fortunately, our Alameda research hero steps in and saves the day. SBF is in the house. He takes full control of SushiSwap and completes the migration that Chef Nomi had disrupted by dumping his shares. This migration, by the way, is basically just looting Uniswap. He's criticized for part of this, which is that he came in and threw in all of this rescue money via limit orders, which earned him a hefty profit by causing the shares to fall once more and then raise after his purchase is registered.
He pump and dumped a pump and dump.
He double tapped it after Chef Nomi was done.
Did.
Like Chef Nomi fucking pumped and dumped and bailed, and then he fucking came in and made it dump.
Dude, he pumped the dump.
He pumped the dump.
He pumped the fucking dump.
That's it. God, Jesus, cryptocurrency. After the migration was completed, Sam said he would relinquish control to the community once more. Turned out, what this decentralized network really needed was a singular centralized solution.
Yet again.
Chef Nomi would appear once more on Twitter before vanishing without a trace. His final message began with the phrase, "To everyone, I fucked up and I am sorry," which at the time would just appear to be an anonymous dev apologizing for fucking up. But remember this, because it's going to come back later.
Absolutely. And this isn't the only non-FTX crypto tomfoolery that SBF engages in. In February 2021, Sam Bankman Fried secretly lends $12 million to Mike McCaffrey, who's the CEO of The Block.
How did no one have the name The Block? Jesus Christ. How is that not a magazine covering New York hip-hop?
Exactly. There were magazines for everything before. Like, why isn't that already a thing? I'm sure they probably had a fucking...
They probably did. Crypto bros love stealing shit. They do not give a shit about copyright stuff until it's their fucking NFTs.
Biggest takeaway from this podcast: crypto bros love stealing shit. Honestly, I think we can just hang up. We're done. That's really that's the podcast, guys. Thanks for
I'm Rat
Bill. But seriously, so he lends $12 million to the block, and then 11 months later, he'll lend another $15 million to pay for the website operation. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is the block? Is it, in fact, a New York radio station? And why did Sam Bankman Fried lend Mike McCaffrey this money?
It's almost suspicious. Lots of S noises. What do you think, Money Mike?
I think that Sam Bankman Fried knows that cryptocurrency is bullshit. And crypto only works if everybody's buying. So it is in his direct vested interest to make sure that crypto publications look on his exchange favorably, and also giving the publication more breadth to get more people buying in. So I think he knows that if crypto as a idea sinks, he sinks too. So he is going to invest a lot of money to keep it buoyant.
I agree with that. I think that sounds good. So I don't know, I guess, that I would say that this is solely for the purpose of journalist suppression, or really if it had anything to do with that, it's about preserving the narrative. Yeah. If you're a journalist covering crypto, we'll get into other journalists covering different facets of crypto later, but a pro-crypto journalist is...
an idiot? No.
Yeah. There's something. Yeah, there's something. You have to be in some level of denial to have that thorough of a knowledge for this stuff and be like, no, yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool. We endorse it here at The Block. We endorse it on The Block. Yeah.
SBF at this point knows that if his influence is going to continue to grow, he is directly tied to crypto.
And grow it will.
Yes. And this really brings us in to the height of FTX. In May of 2021, Sam Bankman-Fried has the fourth biggest crypto trading exchange in the world. And he also has a ton of influence. That interview that we cited earlier when he went on Squawk Box, it really just shows that at this point, SBF is the face of crypto. And he also is having a ton of influence on the thing that everybody is talking about, and that is, how is crypto going to integrate with the rest of the financial markets? And a big part of this is, how are we going to regulate crypto? And Sam Bankman-Fried has a huge amount of say in how that future is being shaped. At this point, he's really going to say, hey, we need more regulation, but it becomes evident that it's not just that we need more regulation, it's Sam wants to define what that regulation is and how it works.
Truly.
Yeah, and that's maybe life according to Money Mike and not necessarily something directly from our source, but...
allegedly.
We'll throw an allegedly there, but FTX is killing it. And this is where crypto makes it to the celebrities.
Yeah, man. There was like a good year there where celebrities were just neck deep in this shit.
Dude, it was yucky.
It was so shitty, dude. Gwyneth Paltrow coming on Jimmy Kimmel's show and being like, yeah, buy my Vag candle. And also, check out this fucking ape NFT that I've got framed here because I don't understand NFTs. And Jimmy Kimmel's like, yeah, here's mine. And he holds up his fucking framed picture of his ape as well.
Well, God, the fact that Vag candles and NFTs were being pitched in the same sentence really shows what NFTs are.
Truly. Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow did not surprise me with that shit, actually. There were others where I was like, fuck, man. Larry David, that
Matt
hurt.
Damon hurt. Like I'm not a huge Matt Damon fan, but when that man walked into the room and said, "Fortune favors the brave," I was like, oh, come
God
on.
damn it. What would Robin Williams say to this?
But yeah, Sam is like rubbing shoulders with celebrities. And most notably for FTX, that is, he brings in Tom Brady and Giselle. And those are two A-listers. And can we just stop for a second and talk about how Tom Brady just looks more and more like a Ken doll every day that passes?
He's going to Simon Cowell all over our asses.
Dude.
I will say, I was becoming a snobby bitch when all of those celebrities came on for like FTX and they were hanging out with Sam Bankman Fried. I was sitting in my chair just stewing. Because before I understood crypto, all I ever did with crypto was lose money with crypto. And then I figured it out and got out of it. But I was sitting there just being all bitter like, you're going to be sorry, Tom. You're going to be sorry, Giselle. Gwyneth Paltrow, that's strike 4 for you.
Yeah, I was not pleased. But as it relates to our story, Sam Bankman-Fried is on the top of the world. His exchange is killing it. So what does he do? What is SBF's next move? Well, he starts buying shit, but he isn't indulging.
Yeah, quick note. The cynical among us, your Rad Bills and Money Mikes, might look at Sam's philanthropy and chalk it up to pursuing a good public image. For our loyal fans, you followed through an awful lot of our cynicism on rich people charity. But Sam was a pretty charitable dude. He was a subscriber to what's called effective altruism, which is charitable, just in kind of like a weird crypto bro-y way.
Yeah.
Effective altruism begs the question, who could that dollar help most? Like Rad Bill, those $2,000 you're spending on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody Funko Pops, where else could that money be going? How many people could it be feeding in a war-torn country? Effective altruism encourages a consistent focus on this shit, on like maximizing philanthropy, not just in the consideration of how the effective altruist is spending money on themselves, but also how they can maximize the charity of every dollar they donate. You wouldn't buy a homeless man a sandwich because that money could buy 100 sandwiches for children in Africa. Which is a weird vibe, right?
Yeah, but there for a second, it was weird in that crypto bro-y way, but it was a billionaire being philanthropic and not donating to their own foundation. So, like Brad Bill said, even the most cynical among us were like, all right, I mean...
He's driving an old fucked up Corolla. And, you know, he's got like $1.5 billion fucking roommates.
The guy had a pretty light self-care regimen. You've seen his hair. He had 9 roommates, no Ferraris or Sweet Life of Zach and Cody Funko Pop, which, again, is rare and cool. But he was definitely still buying shit for his company. And when we say buying shit, we mean buying other companies.
Or just buying business shit. Yeah. Sam, one of the big purchases he made in July of 21 was he bought out the shares of FTX held by their competitor, Binance. Perceptively a smart move. He used Binance USD and $530 million in FTX tokens, FTT, which was a critical mistake.
Oh, yeah.
He used cryptocurrency as a sort of money. Almost.
Yeah, which...
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop that.
In response to this, FTX cuts down on the leverage that it offers. It sets the max leverage, be ready for this, at 200 times.
Now that's just responsible fucking business management there.
Which just fucking highlights the fact that this exchange was a goddamn casino. 200 times leverage is absurd. That's like betting your buddy $50 and losing $10,000 when it goes the wrong way. That's not how investing is supposed to work.
That's not how anything works. Nothing on earth works at 200x.
Other than a lottery ticket, but the thing with a lottery ticket is if I buy a lottery ticket for $5, all I will lose is my $5. But if I leverage myself to the tits, I will owe somebody money when that goes the wrong way.
Yeah, I would never play the lottery if there was like a 0.0001% chance I'd win, but also a 0.0001% chance I would be paying the winner. No way. Fuck that shit, dude.
I only play the lottery in one instance, and that is office pools. Now, it is not to win. It is to eliminate the chance of everybody else winning, quitting their jobs, and me being the lone fucking moron sitting at work on Monday who didn't get to retire.
God, the FOMO of that would be fucking brutal.
Again, dude, I don't buy lottery ticket. They call it a stupid tax, and I'm with you.
It's only stupid until it works, and then it's bold.
Which fortune favors.
Yes, that's right. I've heard that from some very likable actors, actually. It's funny you mention that. Do the bosses and shit buy into the lottery pool?
Every time I bet in one, yes. Because the same thing. Imagine coming in on Monday and everybody who works for you has shat on your desk.
God, that would be so fucking punk rock. I love that idea. I just would like call out sick for a week and just hope that the cleaning crew would pay for what I knew was a mountain of turds on my desk. So, okay, we've been talking for 3 months. It's now October of 2021. FTX buys LedgerX, and this means they can now sell derivatives in the U.S. and adhere to the Commodity Futures Exchange Commission's rule.
Commodities are like hogs, gold, things that don't require as much oversight, so the rules are a lot more lax. So Sam Bankman Fried is using this as an opportunity to, yes, regulate this bullshit thing that he uses, but make sure it's regulated in the lightest way possible. Which, again, is going to cause problems. In May of 2022, the cracks are going to start to show with the failure of Terra and Luna. Rad Bill, why don't you talk about Terra and Luna a little bit?
Sure. Terra is a stable coin from way back in the day. Basically, the way stable coins were used is the folks that made money on Bitcoin or any crypto, when they decided it was time to hedge and get out, they would switch to stable coin, and Terra was a popular one. But in May of 2022, Terra and Luna both failed. They're sister coins, and the long and short is that Terra is depegged from the US dollar and begins dropping in value fucking quick. 1 Terra could be burned to mint $1 of Luna, which was quite valuable at this time. So what do all these people who were just sitting on the sidelines, quietly waiting for the next and right buying opportunity do when they realize their stablecoin is now dropping at a stunning pace? They start burning that Terra to mint Luna, which rapidly ups the supply of Luna and causes the value of Luna to evaporate. That chart looked like if I tried to write a 7 left-handed.
Before Terra Luna crashed, it was among the 10 largest crypto coins in the world by total market cap, and it lost 99.9% of its value. The result here is a ton of people lose a ton of fucking money very, very quickly. And this appears to be, in retrospect, one of the big hits for Alameda. Again, this is kind of the beginning of the end. While all this volatility is happening, what does Sam Bankman Fried do? He starts seizing more control of the marketplace. So in June of 2022, FTX lends BlockFi $250 million. The next month, FTX will lend an additional $150 million to BlockFi under the condition that FTX can buy BlockFi if they want to for as little as $25 million, which is a pretty fucking good deal, seeing as the company at the time was valued at like $4.8 billion.
Yeah, that's a steal.
And then in August of 22, Caroline Ellison becomes the sole CEO of Alameda Research after Sam Trabuccio dips out. Crypto is getting volatile, and now it is just Caroline Ellison at the helm of Alameda.
Yep. And her pal SBF, far, far away and unaffiliated completely, running the show at FTX. Speaking of FTX, in a short while from this, Sam hires Jill Sommers to his board. I'm definitely mispronouncing that name. She was the former commissioner of the CFTC. You'll hear about Sam vying for regulation, but he was fighting super hard to get crypto classified as a commodity so that it would be supervised by the CFTC, which was widely regarded as a weaker regulating body.
And while he was doing that, he was hiring the former commissioner. So whoever became the new commissioner of the CFTC, I'm sure Jill Sommers would have known.
Hell, they probably would have talked.
Exactly. So He's trying to manipulate how the market is going to regulate crypto, and then he is buying one of the regulators.
Yeah. Shortly after this, Voyager Digital, a crypto lending platform, was filing for bankruptcy, but fear not. SBF is buying the assets. He pays $1.4 billion at auction, $1.3 billion for the anticipated value of Voyager's assets, and the additional $111 million just for additional consideration.
Which leads us to the question, why? The market is looking trepidatious. Why is SBF buying so much? Well, one of our sources suggested that these acquisitions were made in an attempt to make FTX too big to fail. Mm-hmm. A few other sources suggest a thought process that makes a lot more sense. SBF bought those lenders to control the amount of loose FTT in the market. So let's go back to our example from before. If FTT is for sale everywhere, the value of FTT drops. And we talked about this before. FTX is a bank, and its viability as an institution is important, but a huge amount of SBF and FTX's wealth is tied to the value of FTT.
This would be like if Bank of America had Bank of America bucks. It's a precarious position.
Precarious is a word. Some would say bad.
Yes. I think that's a better word. Precarious doesn't have enough oh my fucking god about it.
Yeah. So he bought all the shit, he's seizing control, and the big why is not only does he want control over the market, he also wants to protect FTT.
Yep, maybe cover his ass a little bit.
But despite all of this ass covering, in November 2022, the shit and the fan become besties.
November 2022, pretty much as the month opens, Alameda was courting investors for additional funds because of crypto volatility, and unfortunately for them, the balance sheet made it to CoinDesk. Want to break down what was in this balance sheet, Money Mike?
Sure. So, good conduct is when a bank and an affiliated trading desk operate separately. When they begin getting cozy, things get illegal pretty quickly. Now, SBF and Caroline Ellison worked in the same room. Now, some of our listeners are probably saying to themselves, you guys are taking the law a bit literally here, aren't you? SBF and Caroline Ellison are going to be at least a little close. SBF owns Alameda, the company where Ellison is CEO.
Yeah, actually, SBF couldn't get any closer. At times, they were so close that they were literally inside of each other.
Yeah, but on a more serious note, it turns out that Sam had been bailing out Alameda for pretty much all of FTX's existence.
Dios mío.
Alameda had an FTX account that effectively allowed them to print FTT. By the time this whole thing came to light, Alameda was showing a $16 billion entry in liabilities, and of the $16 billion they had in assets, 40% was FTT.
The Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
The fucking Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Alameda had bet on 150 crypto ventures. 150 crypto ventures.
Oh my god.
It's like investing in planes that are on fire. Alameda would just make more FTX fund money to fill in the new holes in their balance sheet. This would be if, like, Chuck E. Cheese released a 10K And they were like, yeah, and we kept this chunk of our profits in Chuck E. Cheese tokens just to save on the whole conversion factor.
And now we're a Fortune 50 company.
Yes, that's right. We have over $16 billion in assets now, no big deal.
Because we've decided that each one of our Chuck E. Cheese tokens is worth $18 billion. And this fund money greatly eclipsed the amount of FTT that was actually circulating. And this is where things get really fucking messy.
Yeah.
Alameda was also borrowing money from banks and using the printed FTT as collateral for those loans. They also did this with serum coins as well, which is another coin that SBF helped create. Mm-hmm. Most of the supply of these two coins was locked away by either FTX or Alameda, and the limited circulating supply was trading in healthy numbers. So, ignoring what would happen to those coins if the banks had to seize and liquidate the assets, Alameda valued the collateral coins using the price that the circulating coins were trading for. And furthermore, because of Alameda's huge chunk of FTT, they were able, at SBF's request, to trade the coins among their own wallets to pump up the value. So as they pumped up the value of their coin artificially, they solicited investments from the Canadian Teachers' Pension, BlackRock, and others, and this funded their lifestyle.
That sentence is such a fucking roller coaster of emotion. They chipped the Canadian Teachers' Pension. God damn it. And BlackRock. Cool. Not too shabby. So it's soon discovered that the FTX executives also took out billions in loans from Alameda. This shit was going both ways. And they used these loans for personal spending, political contributions, a $650 million stake in Robinhood, among other things.
So 4 days later, after concerns are raised by CoinDesk about holes in the Alameda Research balance sheet and their ties to FTX, Caroline Ellison comes to ease everyone's concerns.
Breathe easy, everyone. This is just balance sheet number 1. We have another balance sheet that's got like $10 billion on it. Is that a crime?
I don't think you could have two balance sheets. I think that's pretty not allowed.
Especially when you're going to your investors like, hey, Mr. Investor, where were we scared about our money situation? To come out and be like, no, it's not that bad. We were hiding the rest of the money on another balance sheet.
We gave you the prop balance sheet.
We needed money. We had to show that we needed money. If we showed you all of our money, we were worried that you wouldn't be as inclined to give us money.
God. SBF actually comes to Caroline's aid as well, saying,
"Don't worry, this is all bullshit." He tweeted that, obviously. Jesus, fucking tech people.
They don't say things. But shortly thereafter, CZ, the owner of Binance, announced that he was liquefying all of Binance's FTT. The coins dropped 7.7% almost immediately.
Yeah, thus the already horrific balance sheet gets way, way worse.
So literally the next day, FTX hands the reins to John J. Ray III.
Yeah, J.J. Trey is the lawyer for Enron.
He declares bankruptcy almost fucking immediately.
Probably a good move.
I'm pretty sure that SBF is like, they won't declare bankruptcy. We have assets. We're solvent.
He said that in retrospect, that's what happened. He was like, yeah, you're good. I'm going to hand my company to one of the most well-known bankruptcy lawyers in all of corporate history, and I'm sure he'll do the right thing, which is sort it out and not declare bankruptcy.
Long story short, he declared bankruptcy almost immediately.
Yeah, and he sacked all the blame on fucking SBF.
Well, As one does.
As one tends to do. Yeah.
He's like, bro, I just got here. I just showed up so that I won't get fined.
What the fuck did I do? I'm trying not to go to fucking jail here. Jesus.
So JJR III chalks this whole calamity up to SBF's absurdly careless accounting techniques, which seem to go all the way back to the founding of Alameda. One early would-be investor detailed a story about Alameda misplacing $10 million in a single month when they were just starting out. Alameda could never fucking explain what happened.
Yeah, that money was just gone. Like, imagine any startup just going, whoopsie. Sorry, guys. Does anyone have $10 million we can borrow? We had $10 million and we misplaced it.
I don't know where it is. I swear, it was right here. But luckily for FTX, Binance, that competitor that sort of tanked them, offered to acquire their assets, bailing them out.
Yeah, this was a relief. I'm sure before this, users of FTX were concerned about their fucking crypto wallets. Failures like this don't happen that often, and sometimes they can really muddy the waters for the average Joe.
Yeah, just kidding. The Binance CEO pulled out the very next day. None of these people give a fucking shit about you.
Yeah, and the day gets worse from there.
Caroline Ellison is on a video call with employees. It admits that FTX is also helping Alameda with customer money. And that literally everyone, SBF and other FTX executives, are also in on it. But on November 10th, Sam tweets, "I'm sorry, that's the biggest thing. I fucked up and I should have done better."
And wait a minute. Did this guy fucking do Sushi Swap as well? Is he Chef Nomi?
Dios mio.
The tweets look similar. Here's Chef Nomi's apology message from earlier. "To everyone, I fucked up and I am sorry." Now, granted, he's had like a few years to kind of tailor this and get better with writing apology notes, which he seems to have done.
A good amount of people think that he was Chef Nomi. There's a decent amount of evidence there. And if he was, he bilked a ton of people out of money, saved Sushi Swap, quote unquote, with that money, and turned $14 million into a whole lot more, and then he thanked himself for it.
Fucking Chef Nomi, or maybe SBF comes on Twitter and he's like, "Most of all, I just want to thank Sam." What would we do without that guy?
So at this point, it's clear that FTX is finished. Sam Bankman Fried has been very publicly outed as a fraud and lost a $16 billion fortune. Now, most people in this situation would shut up, hide in their penthouse, and let their lawyers do the talking. However, in the few weeks that would follow FTX's bankruptcy, SBF would prove that he is not most people. This motherfucker would not shut up. For example, a few weeks before Sam was arrested, crypto vlogger Tiffany Fong interviewed him by phone. And the conversation turned to Bankman Fried's campaign contributions. He reportedly donated about $40 million during the 2022 midterms. And during that interview, SBF admitting to doing literally more crimes.
He was quoted as saying, "All my Republican donations were dark. And the reason was not for regulatory reasons. It's because reporters freak the F out if you donate to a Republican. They're all super liberal, and I didn't want to have that fight, so I made all the Republican ones dark." He was later charged with 8 criminal counts, including wire fraud and conspiracy to make unlawful political contributions.
Prosecutors specifically cited the comments from this interview as part of their additional evidence for the charge.
Yeah, if you look at SBF and his lawyer in one of the fucking pictures from the articles we were researching, SBF's facial expression looks like that of like a farm animal. Just blank, like, I guess this is normal. And his very short lawyer looks fresh out of a goddamn war zone. Like he's pointing at the courthouse like, "Get the fuck in there." And he's like trying to keep Sam away from the reporters.
He's having to keep Sam from chasing the reporters, not the other way around. It's like, "Down, boy, come on, sit, stay, shut up." And like Sam knows that he's fucked in this picture, and he's looking at the camera with that blank sort of like, "Do you want me to say words here?" face. And you can also tell that he's aware of the implications of hiring a short lawyer. Short lawyers are fucking mercenaries.
If you're in trouble, hire a short fucking lawyer. Every short lawyer I know, it's like, man, this guy is an asshole, but God, I would trust him with my life if I were going into a courthouse.
He has something to prove, and I want to be behind him, not in front of him.
Yeah, if you're a short guy, go to law school. And if we ever need a lawyer, we are calling you. Leave the comment if you're a lawyer and you're listening. We'll let you know if we need your help. And we can pay you in Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
We have a ton of them. We're currently valued at $18 billion.
Yes, that's right. So, in light of all of the scandal, SBF decides to go ahead and make things way worse. He states that all that advocacy for crypto market regulation was bullshit, and that regulators make everything worse.
So, you might be thinking that this kind of conflicts with the whole effective altruism thing.
Yeah.
And when asked about this, SBF responds saying that effective altruism is just a dumb game we woke Westerners play where we say all the right shibboleths so everyone likes us.
Yeah, and maybe we're mispronouncing shibboleths.
Shibboleths?
Shibboleths. Write in the comments if you know how to pronounce this.
That's not a word, SBF. What the fuck are you trying to do to me here?
She comes in and asks, oh, Sam, what about helping people? And he's like, fuck people. Sam was painted as this humble dude, living according to the tenets of effective altruism. Every dollar you spend indulging is a dollar that could be spent on food for a starving child. Sam drove a Corolla and had 9 roommates. He lived far below his means so that he could give as much as he could. What wasn't mentioned was that he and his 9 roommates spent $7 million on food in 9 months. And lived in a $40 million penthouse and spent all their time screwing each other, which that last part we're cool with. Nothing wrong with the never-ending orgy. Yeah, but the $50 million in that last sentence really runs counter to all of the effective altruism stuff. If you are denying or saying, yeah, I don't really give a shit about where the money comes from, with your actions, you're renouncing that belief system. Also, Corollas are great fucking cars. Let's be real. What's more frustrating than the crimes and their effect on people were those who came to SBF's defense. We've seen the sort of fraud requires intent narrative from a ton of the crypto corner that don't want to just write him off and, in a way, write off the whole industry, saying, he didn't know what he was doing. He was like a farm animal in there, just fucking hitting buttons and having a $40 million penthouse and just clueless the whole time. For him to do something really bad, he would have had to have chosen actively to do something bad.
When everything first broke, that was the big question.
Yeah. Did he know what he was doing?
Is he just a giant idiot, or is he a charlatan? But here is what I would tell you. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
If you are going to take custody of literally billions of dollars, whether you squander that intentionally or you aren't equipped to handle it, it does not matter. If Sam Bankman Fried didn't think that he had the compliance chops to keep that much money in line, then he shouldn't have done it.
Shouldn't have fucking done it.
Then the arrogance of taking on that level of responsibility is just as egregious as the act of fucking everybody over.
Past a certain threshold, damage-wise, you have to stop looking at a person's motives, their background, their flaws, and their gifts, and begin assessing the collateral damage.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the question that we asked at the beginning of this podcast, which was, is everyone in the story just really fucking stupid? And here's the thing. The world saw these 2 people who came from extremely prestigious schools and had extremely prestigious parents and assumed because they were smart, they knew what they were doing because they had all the tools. But that's what money and influential parents get you. Your intelligence is your tool belt. And this is all that standardized testing can ever gauge. This is all college can ever give you, and a well-equipped tool belt can be critical for survival. But Caroline Ellison and SBF are proof that you can have a massive tool belt and still be an utter liability on the job site if you don't know how to use those tools.
Well said. Okay, so crutches time. He has all the dumb guy who bilked a whole bunch of people out of money and will probably spend the rest of his life in jail crutches. He's got consumer harm, rich parents. The tax avoidance stuff around crypto is already pretty significant. And he was also based in the Bahamas, which is also pretty tax averse. So,
yeah.
I mean, do we think he gets the T?
I don't like giving people letters unless it's confirmed.
You know what? That's fair. You get a pass, Sam, but we really wanted to.
You're still going to jail, though, so I mean, like, does it really
Your
matter?
ass is gonna... You're going to jail, dude.
Yeah, but at least those two weird podcast guys gave me a pass. Maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah, right? Child labor harassment allegations to be foreseen on the harassment allegations. We didn't find a thing on child labor.
Yeah.
Egregious behavior after hours. Yeah, I'd say he gets that one. In all the situations where he could have chosen to do the right thing, or he could have taken his free time out to actually honor some of the tenets of that weird philanthropic movement, effective altruism, the fact that he gets busted and then tacitly denounces them, he gets the E. That's a dick move, dude.
I think that anybody who claims to follow a school of thought that they don't actually follow because they think that it'll make them be perceived as better is egregious.
The S for slap suits, he donated to a few journalists. There's no implicit suppression of journalism as a whole, and what's funny is the journalism that did exist in the crypto ecosystem obliterated him at its own expense and perhaps peril. That's our episode on SBF. Thank you all so much for tuning in as always. Did we get anything wrong? Let us know in the comments. We'll correct it in the next episode. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. We love doing this podcast, love having you listen along, and we hope that you had a good time with this one. Catch you guys next time. Goodbye.